Welcome back to the channel, and today is the day that I give out my nap for the Cheltenham Festival. We're still 2 weeks out, but I thought I'd pin a horse that is the nap for the festival in my eyes, and it's going to be on the Friday in the Triumph Hurdle. And for those that have been watching this channel for a while now, it makes no surprise that it's Vauban, who is favourite at the minute at 15 to 8, and I think he will take the world of beating at 15 to 8. I still think there's just a little bit of value there. I've tipped him up anti-post as big as 16s. I've backed him down from 16s, 14s, 10s, I think. Bit of 8 to 1, and he's now favourite. And this horse has just got so much potential. And I think Willie Mullins, who usually isn't the most bullish with his horses, has been saying all the right things that you'd want to hear if you back this horse. He's saying he's got big plans for this fella beyond the Triumph Hurdle, but I'm just hoping he'll be spot on for the Triumph Hurdle, and I think he will be. He's shown a lot of progression since coming over from France. He had some nice form in listed stakes over the 1.5 miles, and he's got a lot of speed and also the stamina as well, which he proves to stay in 1.5 miles on the flat oval in France, which you'll need for the Triumph, as I think it's a stamina test more than anything these days, and this horse will definitely stay. I think he is probably versatile on the ground. I think his better form has come over on the slightly heavier ground where he can get his toe in, but I think he's got a lovely action, and I think if it is quicker on the Friday, which you probably expect it to be, I think it'd suit this horse more than maybe some of the others in the betting. For example, Phil Daw, who definitely wants it heavy in my opinion. But this horse, taking you through its form so far, it was beaten by the Pied Piper when it just lacked a lot of experience that day. He fluffed the last hurdle, and Paul Townend made a dive for the inside, which probably on reflection wasn't the best idea from him, and he was gaining again come the line. So I think that performance was definitely a good one, and for me, he looked like the ones that he'd improve endless amounts for. His next start was at the Dublin Racing Festival in Grade 1 company, which was a huge step up, where he took on Phil Daw, who Gordon Elliott said is the better horse out of Phil Daw and Pied Piper. So I think that tells you a lot about who Gordon thinks is his best horse, and Vauban just took Phil Daw to the cleaners. There was no excuses for Phil Daw, who was up there with the pace and jumped pretty nicely. Vauban jumped out to his right quite a few times, was a bit novice-y, a bit slow at a few, but Paul Townend came with a wide move into the home straight, and the rest was history. He didn't have to get too serious as well. It was mainly hands and heels to beat Phil Daw, who everyone was raging about before, but Vauban showed that he's a better horse than Phil Daw, and I think it's only going to get better for Vauban, the finishing distance in relation with Phil Daw, because if Vauban jumps, even if he jumps okay, he's going to be gaining in 4 or 5 lengths that he lost that day over in Ireland, where he didn't jump great at all. But the thing that was nice to see was when the pressure was on, he went and jumped well. When Paul asked him up, I think at the third last, where he really needed a good jump, Vauban delivered. And if you can do that in the Triumph, I don't see how any horse beats him. And at 15 to 8, I still think there's value. I don't think he's ever going to go odds on, but I think I can see him as short as 6 to 4, 5 to 4 for this race, because I think he is that good of a horse. Moving on to my best bet in a handicap, and that comes in the Coral Cup, 10 to 1, Unexpected Party, who are tipped up on another YouTuber's channel called Ginger Joe. If you haven't checked him out, make sure you do so. But we both gave some each way selections. I had a look at the handicaps, and Unexpected Party just looks like a lovely horse. He travels so strongly. That performance at Ascot, where he won, he travelled so strongly for Harry Skelton, quickened up over the trip. That was a pretty punishing test. There wasn't a strong enough gallop that day, and he still showed he could quicken up and stay out the trip well. He's back up to 2 mile 5 furlongs, where he was beaten over 2 mile 5 at Wetherby, but I think the form of that race has worked out very well, and he was very unlucky to get beaten there. Harry Skelton went to the front a little bit too soon, so I think you can rule out that performance, even though it was a good one. And this horse will be higher in the handicap after that demolition job at Ascot, but I think he will take all the beating. On a recent yard visit as well, I heard that Dan Skelton was full of praise for this horse. He travels well, he jumps well, and Harry Skelton, I think he'll just have to sit tight on this horse, and the horse will take him into the race, and I think he's going to take all the beating at 10-1 against some horses shorter in the betting that I don't really fancy. I think Unexpected Party was 8-1. He drifted it back out to 10-1 for some reason. I don't know why that was, because I think he's an absolute smashing type and is one to keep an eye on for the future beyond this race. But I'm hoping at 10-1 he can land the Coral Cup for the Skelton team, who I think will have a very nice festival. Now, to round off the video, giving out one each way play, and this is a horse that I have mentioned before in Ramillies for Willie Mullins. He's from a point-to-point background, and I think that would suit, because I'm hoping he goes to the Albert Bartlett, and that's what this bet is on. Ramillies for the Albert Bartlett at around 20-1. Now, this horse was much bigger prices, and I advised him the other day at 25-1 before his latest run, but this horse is a very good one. It's a very striking horse in general. He's a very good looker, and he's got point-to-point form, and he had 5 bumpers all over shorter distances, which were never going to suit, and he was highly tried as well. I think he got found out in the top level simply because he wants a trip, and I think over the 3 miles in the Albert Bartlett, I think this will be the first time that he gets one, and I think he'll really improve from it. He made his hurdles debut not that long ago. It was on the 30th of January, where he really needed the run that day. You could see that was pretty obvious, and Willie Mullins said he definitely needed it as well, and he was only third of 22 behind the Nice Guy, who, another for Willie Mullins, might go to this race as well. He's a lot shorter in the betting, but I think Ramillies would have given him a very good test if he jumped the well wrong. He made a very bad mistake, and I'm not sure how he didn't get injured, to be honest. It looked a very bad peck on landing, and his back end went out, but he kept on going, was beaten 12 lengths in the end, but that was not the true picture at all. He would have only been beaten a couple of lengths if he jumped the last well, and since then he ran again on the 23rd of February over the 2.5 miles, and he won in a race where there was 13 horses, and there was a few horses that might have been decent enough as well. He was sent off 4-9, so he was expected to win, but he did it nicely that day, won by 7 lengths. So he did jump out to the left a bit, but at Cheltenham, going left-handed, I think that'd help him, because the other day he was going right-handed. So I think back left-handed, that might just suit him a bit. Step up in trip, the point-to-point background screams that he wants a big trip, and I think all of his runs, especially in bumpers, suggested that he just didn't have the pace, and I think over the longer trip his jumping might improve a bit. He's improved a lot from January the 30th to February the 23rd. That was a big improvement first to second run, and it's only another few weeks from then until the Albert Bartlett, but if he can take another step forward, I think he will be one that I could definitely see finishing in the top 3 in this race, because as I mentioned, this race isn't the strongest of all time. I don't think I'm the first person to mention that, and definitely not the last, but if you look, Hillcrest is 4-1 favourite, right favourite probably. Will he go? Who knows? And he had a very tough race at Haydock the other day. The form of horses going from Haydock onto the Cheltenham Festival isn't great. It might just be a little bit too soon for this horse, although he's definitely a good one. Then you get horses like Ginto, Manila Kakuna for Willie Mullins. I don't think they're certain to go. Journey With Me, well, now Joey Colom's out injured for the same owners. I think Journey With Me might just go for the Ballymore, and I think Henry de Bromhead was leading that way. Hollow Games is disappointed. Bardenstone Lad at 12-1. I don't think there'll be many years where a horse like Bardenstone Lad would be 12-1 for the Albert Bartlett. And then you get the Nice Guy at 12-1, who I think Ramillies has a very good chance of reversing the form with if the Nice Guy does go. I think he lacks experience as well. And you've got horses like Staghorn, Classic Getaway, Eric Bloodaxe, who all have question marks. And then you get down to Ramillies, who I think is rock solid at 20-1. Now, he might not be the best horse we'll ever see win the Albert Bartlett, but I think he definitely does have a chance, and with no run and no bet, if he doesn't turn up, you get your money back essentially. And on the day, I don't think you'd see a horse like Ramillies, given the connections, go off at 20-1 in a race where Willie Mullins definitely knows how to win it as well, so I think at 20 to 1 he could just be a strong each way player for the festival, and he's definitely one that I'll be getting on. So that rounds up the video. My nap of the week is Vauban. The best bet in a handicap is Unexpected Party at 10 to 1, and Ramillies at 20 to 1 in the Albert Bartlett might just surprise a few people and hopefully give me a couple of pounds. So that rounds up this video. Thanks a lot for watching. We're pushing towards the 200 subscriber mark. If you can subscribe and you're not, please do. There's a lot of content coming your way, especially based around Cheltenham. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.